This is Kyle Field, home to the 8th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies, who will try to beat their longtime rivals, the Arkansas Razorbacks, for a 9th straight year. It's SEC Network football in prime time on Saturday night. Happy Halloween with Lauren Sisler and the College Football Hall of Famer Matt Stinchcomb. I'm Taylor Zarzer. This game is called the Southwest Classic. It is the 77th meeting. While Arkansas does lead the all-time series, as we said, the Aggies are on quite the winning streak. This game was played every year between the 20s and the 90s, restarted in the SEC, as you see in the last decade, and it typically goes down to the wire. 5 of the last 6 have been decided by 1 score. Everybody knows about Kellen Mond, Matt Stinchcomb. What a treat he's been as the Aggie quarterback for the last 4 years. Near the top of the school record books in almost every category.
Yeah, he's been electric his entire career because he's able to generate not only yardage as a passer, but also as a runner.
He's been terrific, and we will talk more about him as well as the incredibly opportunistic Arkansas defense, which it leads the country in interceptions, as you see the Aggies coming down the tunnel at the moment, getting ready for cadets. And here come the Aggies and the 12th man onto the field here at Kyle Field tonight. Great atmosphere on a perfect night for football. And again, Stinch, as we said about Kellen Mond, at the top of the record books, some wouldn't believe that, right? Johnny Football, they would think somebody else in Aggie history would be #1 in a bunch of different categories, but this guy's been terrific.
It's the 4 years worth of a career for Kellen Mond. The 25 wins, he's going for 26 here tonight versus Arkansas, and the downfield passing has been better this season. He's been able to stretch the football down the field, stress defenses, and doing it with a lot of new faces at wide receiver. And we also know that when he needs to, he can get the ball moving with his legs as well. I hadn't seen it a ton this year. Expect to see a little bit more maybe here tonight.
And at the very top in yards, completion attempts, but total yards, he can pass Johnny Football with a big game tonight. It could get tricky for him, though, against the new and improved Arkansas Razorbacks. They've been a turnover-making machine for Sam Pittman.
That's been the difference, really. I mean, you look at the way the defense has played. Sam Pittman's so happy with the way he put together his staff. And Barry Odom, they've created this no-fly zone. The defensive coordinator says, look, I want to be simple so my guys can play fast, and they have. Generating 10 interceptions, leads all of the FBS, 13 takeaways on the season. Last time out versus Ole Miss, they scored 24 points off of those takeaways. It has fueled the Razorbacks' victories.
Just look at the difference this season as opposed to the last 3. They couldn't be competitive in the Southeastern Conference. Now suddenly they've won 2 SEC games. First time this rivalry's been on campus in 7 years, and the crowd could be a factor at the home of the 12th man. Let's go down to the field in Lauren Sisler.
You know what, Taylor? I'll tell you, I've been in a lot of stadiums this season during this pandemic season. Big stadiums and small stadiums, but none quite like this. Welcome to the home of the 12th man. They know how to bring the noise, and it comes in numbers. We're at 25% capacity tonight, which is equivalent to about 27,000 fans in the stands. 2,400 of those are the most visible and the most audible right here behind me, the core of cadets. And it's worth noting that they are not socially distanced because they are grouped together as their family unit. But I talked to Ross Bjork earlier, the athletics director here at Texas A&M, and he said he challenged the fans to bring the noise, get on your feet, stay on your feet, keep the energy up despite there only being 27,000 fans in the stands tonight. And I'll tell you what, this is about as good as it gets, Taylor, during a 2020 pandemic season.
Kellen Mond at quarterback, Lauren in shotgun formation as the Razorbacks won the toss, elected to defer, and it's Isaiah Spiller with a burst of speed, leading the conference with over 6 yards per carry. That's a big gain of 15.
Spiller is just the guy that has been the steady piece of this run offense, and he complements the Kellen Mond part of this offensive roster and lineup. The fact that he's 6'3", 217 pounds, and the passing yards that he's been able to generate over his career. It's been a powerful offense captained by Kellen Mond.
Hezekiah Jones, the receiver's in the game for the first time in 2 years, but it's back to the ground, and Spiller will have no place to go. This time you see Bumper, Poole, and others come up to make the tackle. Bumper playing for the first time in a couple weeks. There's Greg Brooks as well. It'll be 2nd and long as the Razorbacks defense with Barry Odom as their defensive coordinator have been sensational through the first 4 weeks of the season. Mond now on a 2nd down and 11 with receivers split out to each side. That's Jones to the bottom. Mond across the middle in heavy traffic, and it's caught. That's Jalen Weidermeyer, the big tight end, for a minimal gain.
And one of the guys that's a primary target in the A&M passing offense. And this is on the heels of a negative yardage play by Arkansas. That defense does a good job of generating 0 and negative yardage plays by offenses. But A&M has been fantastic in that regard. Very rarely do they allow tackles for loss.
They've also been fantastic on 3rd down, converting over 57% of the time so far this season. This is a 3rd and 6 for Mond. And over the middle, it's incomplete. He was looking for Weidermeyer again, and that's Hudson Clark that was there, as well as Joe Fouché, 4th down.
Well, all week long, Arkansas has been talking about wanting to start fast on offense. Well, they started quickly on defense. You get a negative yardage play. You know that it's likely they're going to come back to their primary target, and Weidermeyer, a big body over the middle. That pass defense showing up for the Razorbacks.
The Australian Nick Constantino punts it to Treylon Burks, and it's a fair catch inside the 15-yard line, where Felipe Franks, the transfer from Florida, will bring the Razorbacks out on offense. Franks has thrown for over 5,500 career passing yards and 45 touchdowns, and Stenchi has looked good in Razorback red.
He really has, and the coaches rave about him. They're so happy that he's here on this roster. More than anything else, the stabilizing factor that he has been. It has been a revolving door at quarterback for the Razorbacks. Felipe Franks has been a steadying force for them.
He hasn't had Rakeem Boyd out there much this season, but he has him to start the game, and Boyd, the former A&M Aggie, with a 1st down run. That's exactly what offensive coordinator Kendall Briles and head coach Sam Pittman want to see.
Yeah, you know, often you talk to a head coach that's an offensive line coach, at least 1 year removed. Sam Pittman said, we got to get the ball outside. We got to get Rakeem Boyd going. Check, check on play 1.
It's a 10-yard pickup. Fake to Boyd over the top, and it's complete underneath as it's caught for a minimal gain, as you see DeMarvin Leal come up to make the tackle on Hudson Henry. It's 2nd down. 2nd and 2 after that 8-yard pickup by Henry, and Franks will go fast, throw to the sideline. It's a 1st down completion to Mike Woods as he gets out of bounds up near the 40-yard line.
You know, Taylor, I think it bears mentioning, this is the first time Arkansas all season long has picked up a 1st down on their opening possession.
Kendall Briles has clamored for his team to start quicker, believes you get that first, you're going to score on the drive, and across the middle on this play, it's Boyd. And Rakeem Boyd off to a hot start here in the 1st quarter. See their opening drives this year, Stench. It has been a struggle.
They fixed that now, and it's obvious. You can see Rakeem Boyd feeling it early.
And a fake to Boyd. Franks keeps himself. Franks breaking tackles inside the 35, and look at this extra effort. Franks fired up. 1st down, Arkansas.
What a run by Franks, and a great read. You see the collapse, and they arc release Hudson Henry. You see 82 as he gets outside, gets his hands on Buddy Johnson, the leading tackler of the Aggies.
28-yard pickup back to the ground. Rakeem Boyd will get a couple. Franks no stranger to taking off against the A&M defense. He had a 79-yard run when he played for Florida 3 years ago. And he doesn't take off often Stinch, but he makes it happen when he does. There's a 2nd down and 9 inside the A&M 30. Franks on a design run again, and Felipe will spin down to the 21-yard line. It'll be a 7-yard pickup, 3rd and short.
How about the C button by Felipe Franks? You just mentioned, yeah, he'll take off and run every once in a while, but he's not a known runner. There's not a lot of those, but you can see he stands up, fakes the screen to the right of the formation, then takes advantage of getting upfield quickly.
Already 53 yards rushing for Arkansas. This time it's a pass, and it's out of bounds near the 15-yard line. It's Henry again, 1st down Razorbacks.
A hot start for Hudson Henry. It was a key block on the Rakeem Boyd run to open up the game. Had a nice catch earlier on, and now once again targeted. You can see right now the Razorback offense able to get into their tempo offense, and right now Kendall Briles is a play caller in a nice rhythm.
9th play of the drive. It goes to Boyd again. Boyd with a burst of speed inside the 10, down near another 1st down. He'll be marked just short, 2nd and 1.
Look at the explosion, and they knew this. Rakeem Boyd is the guy that can actually get loose. Traylon Smith has kind of been the drumbeat. He's been the breaker.
Boyd is stuffed on a 2nd and 1. It'll depend on the spot there as Bobby Brown came up to clog the hole, but what a start by Rakeem Boyd in the Razorbacks. The senior from Houston, Texas, go over 2,000 career rushing yards tonight as he comes out of the game. Traylon Smith will come in on the 11th play of the drive, and it's a 3rd and 1. Razorbacks have to get just inside the 6. Completely switching the offense, and Franks is lined up at receiver with Burks taking the snap, and Burks goes across the middle. 1st down Arkansas.
It looked like there might have been a little bit of confusion in the backfield there after the shift, and Burks immediately getting that snap. Looks like he was going to try to get out wide. Either flinched a little bit, try to stick his foot in the ground and get upfield. Regardless, we know they want to get the ball to number 16. They've spread it around early with Boyd and Henry. That's a certain way to get the ball into Traylon Burks' hands. Snap it directly to him.
Didn't look like he had any chance to win that play, and still somehow got enough yards to move the chains. 1st and goal Razorbacks from the Aggie 6. Franks throws to the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown. That's Traylon Burks.
All week long, Sam Pittman talked about starting fast. You can't do it better than this. And Felipe Franks throws an on-target pass, well placed to the big body Traylon Burks. If you're the Razorback offense, you can't start any better than that. It was just as you would script it. We got to get the ball outside. We got to get Rakeem Boyd going. And we got to get the ball to Traylon Burks.
They're going to review this play to make sure that Burks had possession of the football and got a foot down. But what an impressive drive if it stands. 12 plays, 87 yards. 63 of those 87 yards on the ground. And then Franks throwing it only where Burks was able to catch it. We take another look.
Burks was lined up in the slot, and he is going to be a physical mismatch for just about anybody working against Devin Morris.
It looks like a catch on Sunday.
Yeah, that looks clearly to be a catch.
2 feet down and appeared to maintain possession of the football while he was doing so. For a guy that has some of the biggest hands in all of football, 10.5-inch hands, for Traylon Burks, who is stepping up as a sophomore. So Mark Curls is tonight's referee as the call.
The ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
So it's a touchdown for the Razorbacks, and Sam Pittman and this resurgent Arkansas team off to one whale of a start in 2020 after being the doormat of the conference the last couple of years. They are everything but that in 2020 as they fight near the top of the SEC West. This is A.J. Reed to attempt the extra point. And that is his 70th consecutive extra point made. What a drive for Franks, for Burks, for Boyd, and the Razorbacks are on the board in College Station. All right, Stinch, it's time now for Dr. Pepper Fansville, giving fans the keys to the game. What you got for us tonight?
Well, I mean, Arkansas, it was almost like they were checking out our graphics before the game started. Get the ball to Burks, had a direct snap, ended up in the end zone. Defensively, they haven't had any takeaways, but they got to stop early. For A&M, get the ball running, start getting downhill, start feeding those running backs, and defensively, trying to change the picture late, trying to change that box count on Felipe Franks. The fact that the Razorbacks were moving so quickly, I think it put the Aggies on their heels defensively, had a hard time doing the things that they do best.
And A&M is going to start at the 25-yard line. Lauren, how fired up is Sam Pittman and that Razorback bench right now?
Woo, I'll tell you what, Sam Pittman came over fired up, dabbing everybody up. He said that is what we needed. We needed that spark, and that's exactly what he talked about going into this week. That's what they focused on in practice. They got to get off to a fast start, and hey, you can't do much better than that.
No, you can't, and they said it repeatedly to us in the meetings. They said it to the team throughout the entire week, and it certainly worked. Now, how does Kellen Mond and the Aggie offense get started? With Spiller in the backfield, it's Isaiah, the fake to him, and Mond will keep it, and that's a first down run for the senior quarterback.
That was a nice pull read by Kellen Mond because Joe Fouché, see him coming right off the edge, number 7. Mond has the pull read, gets out on the edge quickly. Haven't seen a lot of design runs for Mond. He hadn't had a lot of carries, only averaging about 5 carries a game coming into this contest.
So that's again 1st and 10 now for Mond, and he's got Spiller in the backfield. He will, on the option toss, elect to keep it himself, and it's a minimal gain. It'll be 2nd down. Kellen Mond and Jimbo Fisher, the head coach, Stinch. This is a traditional offense. You don't see as many RPOs as all the other teams in college football. As you will see, a team that is very smart with the football. They don't typically play from behind, though.
No, this is kind of out of the norm for these guys. These guys are built to try to control clock, run the football downhill. But right now you can see quarterback getting involved in the run game. See if it gets that offense wake up a little bit.
2nd and 9, swinging it outside and up near the 40-yard line as the catch is made. It will be Spiller. It'll be 3rd down. Grant Morgan still playing with one arm almost trapped to his body. You see that big elbow brace that Morgan is wearing after that remarkable game he had against Ole Miss 2 weeks ago. He made the tackle.
Yeah, you see it right there. You know, J.J. Watt, kind of Rob Gronkowski style out there, and he put together an unbelievable box score for a defender versus the Ole Miss Rebels.
3rd down and 5. Aggies did not convert the first time they had one. Mond with plenty of time to survey the field, and it is caught. That's a 1st down, and it's the first time Hezekiah Jones made a catch since 2018.
Was injured before last season, and in traffic, great concentration. Kellen Mond was so excited to get Hezekiah Jones back into the lineup. As you mentioned, he hadn't played a lot of football in about a year and a half, but he's a familiar face on that roster and one that was depleted by guys headed to the next level, injury and opt-outs. Hezekiah Jones, a welcome addition.
Yeah, a lot of adversity for the Aggies at receiver this year. Spiller, he gets a couple. Kendrick Rogers and Courtney Davis are those players you're talking about that went pro. Jamon Osborne opted out. And then Caleb Chapman, Stench, who had the catch of the year, that that fourth quarter touchdown catch against Florida. Hurt his knee on that catch and is out for the season. So all sorts of issues for the Aggies on offense so far this season. It's now 2nd down and 8 for Mond in Arkansas territory near the 43. Mond underneath, and again it's Jones who gets hit hard immediately by Jalen Catalon. Nice tackle made by the redshirt freshman.
Catalon has had an unbelievable start to this season.
And on a 3rd and 1, A&M, who typically doesn't go very quick, does this time to move the chains. Mond keeping it himself.
Yeah, you could see got over the football really quickly, and Arkansas was ready for it. You could see them bunch into the A-gaps, but Mond able to get enough push from guard to guard, and there is size along that Aggie offensive line. Kenyon Green, Ryan McCollum, and Jared Hawker. Some serious beef in the middle of the Aggie front.
On will look down the field, and it is caught inside the 10 and towards the end zone. That's a touchdown. Anais Smith gets 3, and Mond finds it.
Arkansas doesn't get a ton of pressure, but Bumper Poole was able to get inside of Isaiah Spiller. It didn't matter. Kellen Mond kept his eyes downfield, and on his favorite target, Anais Smith, the big playmaker for the Aggies. And now they're up on the board, close to knotting this thing up.
So Small does just that. As Mond finds Smith on a 35-yard touchdown strike. After the Razorbacks score first, Mond was perfect. 4 for 4 on the drive with this strike to tie it up.
SEC Network Football is brought to you by Farm Ranch. Grab a snack.
Some of the traditions this year in college football haven't been able to happen. Thankfully, this is one that is still going strong at the home of the 12th man. And this guy, Kellen Mond, in his 4th year as a starting quarterback, had quite the answer on that drive, Stinch.
Yeah, he did. I mean, when you think about it, didn't start out very well for the Aggies. The defense gets marched right down the field. Arkansas gets on the board quickly. First time that they've been able to do that all season long. And a strong answer from Kellen Mond. Both these quarterbacks figuring prominently. Thrown a couple of touchdown passes, had a couple of nice runs.
That was Mond's 60th touchdown pass. It's now the 3rd Aggie to do it. Time for the Razorbacks to get it back on offense with Felipe Franks at quarterback in just a moment. Well, I would say that's progress, huh? First 4 games couldn't get anything going on opening drives. The first one tonight was fantastic for Felipe Franks, 87 yards down the field with 5 first downs, culminating with a 6-yard touchdown strike to Traylon Burks. Felipe Franks so connected to the Florida Gators until this season, transferring to Fayetteville to play for Sam Pittman and Kendall Briles. Franks will go underneath to Boyd, and it'll be a loss of 1 on the play. Guy had a gruesome dislocated ankle injury last year versus Kentucky that ended his career at Florida, transferred here to Arkansas. He's had some of his behavior questioned, but man, has he shown some maturity. Voted a team captain as he hands again to Boyd, and Boyd will get a couple. I thought it was interesting what Frank said, Stinch. He said humility is the first step to courage. A guy that is really trying to grow up as a young man.
Well, he's certainly been a strong leader for the Arkansas offense and started off hot, 4 for 4 before this attempt.
But this drive, it doesn't work. A couple of handoffs to Boyd for nothing, and then he gets flushed out of the pocket and throws it away. There's a flag down on the field, as that was Andre White that was pressuring Franks.
That first down run was an inside run. So far, other than Franks keeping it, there hasn't been much running room in the center of that Aggie defense.
Outside the tackle box, threw the ball away, out of bounds beyond the line of scrimmage. Therefore, there is no foul for ineligible downfield. 4th down.
So after so much success on the first drive, a very quick 3 and out on the second.
You see Franks looking at back out there. Once they're not able to be successful on first down, which was really what kind of kicked off that opening possession. You get an explosive run from Rakeem Boyd. Here they tested the middle, didn't get much yardage, didn't get much on second down. Then trying to move the pocket on third leads to punting it away.
Reed Bauer, 3rd different punter Arkansas has used this season, will punt it. He'll get a Razorbacks bounce, but Anaya Smith picks it up off of the ground and makes something out of nothing. That's, some would say, a dangerous decision, but he's got so much confidence on how to play it off the ground. And it's good field position for Kellen Mond, who looked terrific on that last scoring drive.
And Anaya Smith's got to hustle over to the sideline, change his jersey. Has to wear number 19 on special teams. You see him right there. Still got that number 0 hidden underneath there. And certainly they want to get him ready, get his headgear ready to go for him to get back into the lineup. Already made his presence felt here tonight with the touchdown grab.
First and 10 for the Aggies at their own 43-yard line. First time these two have met on campus in 7 years. Mon on a design run follows Spiller, and he'll get a few past the 46-yard line. Game was played in Arlington the last 6 years over at AT&T Stadium. All won by the Texas A&M Aggies. Won 8 in a row overall in this series that dates back to the early part of the 20th century, called the Southwest Classic. Of course, both played in the Southwest Conference for over 5 decades. Now on a 2nd down and 7. More traditional I formation look, and it's Spiller hard running, and the extra effort will get him near midfield. Stinch, it's 3rd down.
A pretty good push. We've seen it many times so far from the A&M Aggie offensive front. And I love the way Isaiah Spiller, if he doesn't see it, if he's not going to be able to get out to the edge, just stick his foot in the ground.
Number to 0 for Texas A&M.
As the officials were making it clear that Anaya Smith, who initially had that 19 on the return, back to 0 as he lines up out wide as a receiver.
Have to get just past the Arkansas 48 with the play clock running down. Mon underneath, and a flag will come in as Hezekiah Jones was the intended target. It was Busta Brown in coverage.
Jones getting a lot of targets early in this game.
Pass interference, number 21, defense. The penalty is a 1st down at the spot of the foul.
Well, Brown might be a little bit rusty. Been out of the lineup, got there early. You could see it. See that left hand, the grab around. It happens a lot, especially when defensive backs are playing through a receiver. The receiver's between them and the ball. It's an easy call for the official, though, and I think it was more that left-hand grab as he came over the top of Jones.
Well, and as you said, he missed the last 2 games with an apparent head injury. Good to see him back at full strength out on the field tonight. Goes as a 6-yard penalty, so the Aggies with a fresh set of downs at the 45, and it's a strike to Chase Lane, who's emerged as one of Mond's favorite targets. It's another 1st down.
Yeah, Chase Lane was a guy that Kellen Mond mentioned as well in our call. A guy that they felt like they could get the ball to more often. Now they're starting to spread the football around a little bit. early on. You've got 6 completions, 5 different guys on the other end of those completions.
The previous play is under further review for potential targeting.
Take a look at what they saw here as Lane, after making that catch, did take a shot to the head from Jalen Catalon.
Yeah. So here comes Catalon. His bumper pulls in on the tackle as well. He lowers his head. That's the crown of the helmet and to the head or neck area. See Catalon lower his head. And if you strike with the crown of your helmet, that alone would indicate targeting.
It's really
that would be a major
part
blow.
of it. Yeah, it's the first part of it, Stench. If when they're asking in the rule book if there's an indicator, the first thing it says, is there an attack with the crown of the helmet? Certainly appeared to be. And as you said, yeah, losing him the rest of the way would not be good for Barry Odom's defense.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what element of the definition of targeting that hit doesn't meet. And you're talking about a guy that was bringing about 11 tackles a game, one of the more active defenders on this upsurgent Arkansas defense. And not to mention his contributions. Has an interception on the year, returned it for a touchdown.
After further review, number 1 defense committed a crown of the helmet targeting foul. That penalty is 15 yards from the end of the run. Number 1 is disqualified for the remainder of the game.
Redshirt freshman from Mansfield, Texas. If Grant Morgan wasn't named the SEC Defensive Player of the Week 2 weeks ago, it might have been Catalon against Ole Miss. Pick 6, fumble, recovery, a forced fumble, a couple of pass breakups. Losing him is a big blow for the rest of this one.
There's no doubt. And in talking with Barry Odom, defensive coordinator, he was saying, look, we get Monteric Brown back, maybe we can play a little bit more man coverage. You see that shot one more time from Catalon, and that's a pretty big blow that Chase Lane took as well. Held on to the football, but no doubt that that was targeting. Isn't ejected from the game. He's disqualified. Catalon can still stay on the sideline with his team, just cannot re-enter the game.
Miles Slusher, the true freshman for Arkansas, has come out there on the field. Meanwhile, Spiller, this is the handoff to Anais Smith, and Anais gets near the goal line, just shy inside the 1.
How about the blocking up front from the Maroon Goons? Man, that's pretty. Now you're talking about a hat on a hat. They got movement at the point.
I wonder if they want to take a look at this.
The previous play is under further review. Prior to the snap, we were notified by replay. Reviewing the spot.
Smith had the touchdown reception on the previous drive, and it's very close to a touchdown run.
Ruling on the field as the runner was down short of the goal line.
Look at that hole, guys. I mean, just gashed right up the front. And I don't know. As he makes this extension, he rolls over Joe Fouché. Look at that. I don't know that anything would have established Smith as being down before he extends this football. Looks like a touchdown. Ball is, all it has to do is break that front edge of the goal line, the plane, and he is on top of Joe Fouché.
Jimbo Fisher wants to get Anaya Smith the football around a dozen times. He got it to him 15 times against Mississippi State. His first 2 touches might both be touchdowns if this is overturned.
The ruling is a touchdown. The runner was on the body of a defender, broke the plane to the goal line with the football. Please reset the game clock to 34 seconds. 34 seconds on the game clock, please.
You know, the coaches were talking about it. You know, you get Hezekiah Jones back, some of these guys emerging at receiver. Maybe they can get more touches to Anaya Smith, who Jimbo Fisher told us last year before their bowl game, this guy is a natural ball carrier.
And the extra point is good. Anaya Smith, the sophomore from Missouri City, Texas, grew up about an hour and a half from College Station. Mr. Multi-Purpose in 2020 for the Aggies.
Well, as you mentioned it, Taylor, can't get any more efficient than that. Catch a touchdown, run for a touchdown, get that man the ball. Had a nice punt return when he was wearing number 19. He's doing all kinds of stuff. It's his costume. Put on 19 as a returner, take the costume off, become a receiver and a running back. All he's got to do is play the tuba at halftime, and he's done it all. Maybe throw a pass or 2.
Let's get some more on Anais. Let's go down to Lauren. Okay, we'll get back to Lauren in just a moment. All right, let's try Lauren again.
Hey, we'll do it again. Yeah, you know, despite being a multifaceted player, Jimbo says Anaya Smith is a natural as back they come. When you watch him run, he gets north and south. He's got really good pad level, and Jimbo thinks he'll have a great career in the NFL on both special teams as well as a running back.
You would think so, yeah, especially with the way that the game is going now, Lauren, at the professional level. Being able to catch balls out of the backfield is really a requirement in today's National Football League. I know that Lauren is devastated, by the way, that she cannot dress up for Halloween tonight, Stench. She has made it very clear throughout the week that she is a lifelong participant in trick-or-treating. Hope everybody's had fun with that tonight. And this is Franks keeping it himself again. Much more of design runs being called by Kendall Briles here in the first quarter for Franks than we've seen so far this season.
Yeah, really both of these offenses utilizing the quarterback. A lot of these are pull reads. And Traylon Smith did a great job of selling it. It's been a clean run to the edge, both times to the right side of the formation for Arkansas for Felipe Franks on these keepers.
And I think they're just going to let the clock expire at the end of the first quarter. Arkansas struck first, but A&M has answered with a couple of touchdowns, both by Anaya Smith. A good one, as always, in College Station. Sam Pittman and the Razorbacks down 14-7 to Texas A&M as they start the second. Had to wait forever. Look at that, Hutchinson Community College. Back in 1992 is the last time this guy had been a head coach. 16 different stops in 35 years throughout college football, and finally gets his dream job, Stench, in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
He's just so well respected, not just by his players and his own coaching staff, but other coaching staffs. We've done a couple Arkansas games this year, and it's remarkable to me the comments that you hear from the opposition and how they view Sam Pittman and the job that he's been able to do so quickly at Arkansas.
On a 2nd down and 2, Traylon Smith goes past the 40-yard line for a first down. He's got a couple of popular things that he says. Pittman, yes, sir. And when something good happens and after wins, he says, turn up that jukebox, as Franks turns it up on a pass to Burks into A&M territory. It was interesting what Pittman said about the Auburn controversial loss. He said the thing he hated the most, we didn't get to celebrate for 5 or 6 hours. They took that away from us. And that's what he hated most about that. Guy has become one of the most popular people in Arkansas. Franks steps up and is diving ahead past the 40, down to the 39, back down to Lauren.
The confidence he has seen from his players and this coaching staff. There were a lot of questions when he arrived in Fayetteville. Can we win? Do we belong in the SEC? And he says his players are bought in. They know the answer is yes, and they're out to prove it. Pittman reiterated how proud he is of the mindset of his football team.
It's really the walking the walk part is the thing the players seem to love most as Smith stays on his feet, and it's a first down run, Stinch.
You like the attitude of this team more than anything else. And Mike Elko talked about the defensive coordinator for A&M. The way they play kind of embodies the mindset of an O-line coach.
Shovel pass ahead to Treylon, and he is at the 31-yard line where he's tackled by Buddy Johnson. Razorbacks have had a two-headed monster at tailback with Boyd and Smith. Smith has come in to spell Boyd. Boyd missed the Auburn game with an injury. Treylon is a transfer from Arizona State, and look how effective they've been on the ground. A&M only gives up 75 a game, and the Razorbacks approaching 100 here in the early stages of the second quarter. This is Burks, and he is bottled up. Buddy Johnson and company are there. It's third down.
Again, trying to get the ball to Burks, got it to him in the passing game. This time on a handoff and a fly sweep. Really well defended there on the edge. And of course, who is it? It's Buddy Johnson. Great read and ability to sift that out, get out under the edge and get Burks on the ground.
The whistle comes in.
Before the snap, first charge timeout, Texas A&M. Reset the game clock to 12:31, please. 12:31 on the game clock.
There's Jimbo Fisher, the head coach of the Aggies, whose team is watching Arkansas run it down his throat.
ESPN, home of the College Football Playoff.
It's been a crazy day, too, with what the College Football Playoff picture might look like. Clemson and DJ Uiagalelei dodge a bullet against BC, winning. Michigan goes down today. Maybe the Texas A&M Aggies aren't out of this. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit. 3rd and 9 for Franks. And Felipe is in trouble, and that ball is batted down, goes out of bounds. It'll be 4th down. You see the pressure there by that Aggie defense, forcing the 4th down. That's Tyree Johnson.
Yeah, got there late. You know, Felipe Franks, he hitches once, and the clock ran out on him. He ended up collapsing the pocket from behind. It does look like that ball was clearly going forward. He didn't throw an empty hand. But Tyree Johnson able to get home on Felipe Franks to force a field goal.
It's a 48-yard try by the 5th-year senior Duke transfer A.J. Reed, and he pushes it to the right. Reed has been automatic inside 40, but from 48 he can't convert. And the Aggies continue with this 7-point lead. Both of those touchdowns for A&M scored by Anias Smith, one on the ground and one through the air, Stench.
Well, we talked about what an amazing performer this guy can be in both phases and in special teams. It's just demonstrated on the punt return. 1 touch in the ground game, 1 touch in the passing game, touchdowns both. And just the instincts at the end of that touchdown run, well, he knew he was still a live ball carrier, extending that ball and getting it into the end zone. 2 touches is not enough for Anias Smith. He's going to get a ton more in this game.
Kellen Mond throws into heavy traffic, and Bumper Pool and Grant Morgan felt like they could pick that off.
There was at least 3 arms involved in that would-be interception. Grant Morgan's got just the one. Bumper Pool's in there trying to haul one in. Poole's already in there, though. 7 tackles, man. This guy has been all over the field. One of the leading tacklers, has missed some time. They didn't hit him during the bye week. They wanted to get him healthy. On Thursday of this week, they let him take some shots, and he has been game ready.
Second now and 10. Back down to the ground, and Spiller gets the corner. First down run for Isaiah, but there is a flag down.
Check the flag, but I can't say how impressive Isaiah Spiller is. You know, the first tackler rarely gets him on the ground.
Holding, number 65, offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay second down.
There's Big Dan Moore, and when it's a run outside to the left, watch him, number 65, watching a combination block, and really what happened there, he almost got too much help by his left guard, Kenyon Green.
Please reset the game clock to 11:54.
Mattel solely outside as they reset the game clock. That's the first penalty on A&M. That was one of the things that Jimbo Fisher had been working on. He said the combination blocks, they do a great job of it up front. That time, a little too much help. Dan Moore didn't turn loose early enough.
Second and 14 after the penalty. Mon, a little quick bubble throw that will gain some yards and get up to the 35. And of course, it's that man, Smith, again. Going back to what you said about the combination blocks that Jimbo said he was working on during the open week. I mean, here's a guy that has one of the best offensive lines in all of college football. They've only allowed 2 sacks this season. They're running the football successfully, and he's obsessed with perfection, even in an open week.
It's just so detailed, right? I mean, you ask anybody else, oh, we try to work on our depth, our passing game. No, we worked on our combination blocks up front.
He is in love with calling a football game, that's for sure. 3rd and 6. Mon has so much time and space, and he delivers a perfect ball to the big tight end Weidermeyer. They had to blow a whistle for him to stop moving forward.
Just such a clean pocket to work from. Watch Kellen Mond here. All that green space around him before the snap, it's there after the snap. Look at this. I mean, there's almost no one in the frame at the end of that look. That is a fantastic job up front of protecting your passer. And he rewards the effort up front with a strike downfield to Weidermeyer.
Almost a fortunate whistle for Arkansas. I don't think Weidermeyer was finished trying to move his progress forward. The 48-yard line now, and Spiller will get it past midfield. Let's check on what else is happening tonight. Go back to the studio in Darinoka.
Well, guys, Florida, Missouri over on the alternate right now. Missouri offensively not doing much, but defensively they get to Kyle Trask. Jarvis Ware picks it, goes 59 yards to the house, and it's Mizzou with a 7-6 lead early in the second. TZ, Stinch.
Thank you, my friend. Stench, you saw those Missouri Tigers beat Kentucky last week. Mizzou and Coach Drinkwitz, kind of like Arkansas, have made significant progress from the way their teams finished last season. 2nd and 6, Spiller inside the 45, but another flag as they try the left side.
Yeah, check the flag here. As you mentioned, yeah, Missouri, the way they turn things around, where a guy that's just got back from a hamstring injury.
Number 55, offense. 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
It's Kenyon Green, and he was kind of involved with the previous holding penalty. Bounced Dan Moore's guy outside and solely, and this time, watch him, he overreaches. I don't know. I got to tell you, I don't know about that call. He had him reached. He put him to the ground. I don't see holding on that play at all. You got a white hat back there and a center judge. I didn't see a holding penalty on that play.
2nd and 17 after the penalty is enforced. 2 holding calls negating 30-plus yards on this drive. Mon surveys the entire field and is dropped by Jones. It'll be third down.
And you can see, obviously, Arkansas is drop back in these long yardage scenarios. They're going to play the box, a light box, 3 down linemen and just 2 linebackers. That's a comfort zone for them. They've played well in these long yardage scenarios. Rush 3, and they're going to drop 8 into coverage. A similar look here. See if the Razorbacks play coverage once again. They're showing pressure.
Mond. It's a strike again to Weidermeyer. It's a first down.
Arkansas walks up. They kind of mug the line of scrimmage with Joe Fouché and Bumper Poole.
Personal foul, face mask, number 13 defense. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run, first down.
You see Bumper Poole up in the line of scrimmage, then drops back into zone coverage. And Weidermeyer just kind of settled in right behind the linebackers. And in front of safety Joe Fouché comes in there, lays the boom. Did not see where the face mask was on that play.
Julius Coates gets called for it. See Ryan McCollum, the center, great protection for Mond there. And it's interesting too because McCollum he's been limping around on the last couple of plays. It's staying in there. Unquestioned leader of the offensive line. And they run right behind him to the 15-yard line goes Ainias Smith.
Now you think about it, a couple of holding penalties and then maybe a fortunate call on the face mask, and then you see Ainias Smith. It's a great read. You see it on the backside of that, and oftentimes that's where it is. You ride the wave, you press the line of scrimmage, you kind of hide behind the offensive line and then bounce the backside cut.
It's Smith again on a 2nd and 2, staying on his feet, and it's 1st and goal Aggies.
Well, I talked about Isaiah Spiller earlier and his ability to break tackles. What about Ainias Smith? And you see there, a little bit of confusion. Bumper Poole got sucked in. That backfield action was a little bit confused. And once again, Smith able to slip outside. You see Bumper Poole, one of the most active tacklers in all of college football. That neck roll on.
Smith will go out on the 1st and goal, just outside the 6. Spiller now. Very little. Good job by Bumper Poole to make that tackle.
You see number 10 fronting him up that time. And this is an area where Arkansas has thrived. Red zone defense. They've only allowed 50% touchdown percentage on possessions inside their own 20-yard line. Had a couple of 4th and goal to go stops last week versus the Rebels.
It's 11th play of the drive for number 11 to the end zone. Touchdown, Weidermeyer.
Pressure in his face this time. The pocket collapses inside out. Mond gets hit as he throws. Doesn't matter. It's a strike to Weidermeyer. Watch him take a shot. Jonathan Marshall working against Ryan McCollum. Didn't matter. He stood in there. He delivered. Jimbo Fisher. He talked about instilling toughness into this program. He's got some toughness demonstrated by his quarterback. Able to throw that football right where his guy could come down with it.
4. Seth Small's extra point. A flag comes in.
Before the snap, false start, number 64 offense. 5-yard penalty, it's still a try.
Weidermeyer, by the way, now is 1st in the SEC among tight ends with catches. This year he's got 23. Kenny Yeboah of Ole Miss has 22, including today's beatdown of Vanderbilt. sophomore from Dickinson, Texas, where his father, Vincent, was an absolute star back in the 80s. His boy is a star in college in the 2020s. 3 catches for Weidermeyer on that drive from Kellen Mond, finishing it off with this acrobatic touchdown. All Aggies in the first half. Let's look at the road to the championship, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. You see Alabama's chances of getting to the college football playoff. Those are their chances just to win out in the Southeastern Conference at 45%. Georgia at 11.7%, and then the Aggies at 3.6%. After this kickoff, we'll take a look at their schedule and see if, well, we'll look at it now actually, see their schedule there. Just a 43% chance of beating LSU, got crushed today at the Auburn Tigers, and then the Aggies finished the season on the Plains, favored to win their next 3 games. I want to see if Mr. Stinchcomb agrees with the FPI as the Razorbacks get it at the 25. What say you, my friend?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, to me, the way A&M has been playing and even the way they've asserted themselves tonight, 3 straight touchdown drives, you have to wonder. I don't know that I think I like their chances better than 50-50 versus LSU, although they looked good a week ago versus South Carolina. And Auburn, maybe they're riding the ship. I don't know. They jumped all over LSU, but it was a lot of defensive play, it seemed like, for the Tigers from the Plains.
Franks tosses it to Smith, and Treylon gets past the 30-yard line. Think of it this way, Stitch. If Texas A&M does win out and finishes 9-1, there's going to have to be a 4th team that makes it to the college football playoff. If the favorites in the SEC, the ACC, and the Big Ten all win the conference, then who is that 4th team? As Henry has the first down catch.
You make a pretty strong argument for the team we're watching right now in Texas A&M. The one game, if they can win out, being a drop to the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Burks is in trouble, and he makes something out of nothing. He gets a couple. By the way, the Big 12 has no unbeaten teams left after Texas beat Oklahoma State today. If the Pac-12 does what they typically do and beat each other up starting next week, then there could be a 2nd team from either the SEC or the Big Ten. You see an injury here on the field to Leon O'Neal, the junior from Cypress, Texas.
Yeah, a guy that defensive coordinator Mike Elko pointed out is playing some of his best ball, coming up in run support. Elko's the safeties coach. He asks a lot of that position. Both he and Damani Richardson have been playing really good football for the Aggie defense. That could be yet another big loss at safety. Catalan for the Razorbacks, and I don't know what caused that injury for O'Neal. It's non-contact.
Franks is in a world of trouble. I don't know how he escaped 4 different Aggies on that play. It's 3rd down.
Arkansas's protected pretty good all night. They're trying to keep him clean on this one. I don't know how Michael Clemens couldn't come up with it, but Felipe Franks, he reminds me of Ben Roethlisberger sometimes. He's a good bit more mobile, but guys just kind of slide off of him, and he staggers forward.
3rd and 10. Franks, and that's a catch made by Mike Woods. Looks like maybe just short. And we'll see if Arkansas stays on the field. They will. It's over a yard to go.
We should point out, Ricky Stromberg, who did not start the game at center, was quarantined. He's back in that lineup at center, number 51. As Arkansas seeks to try to convert on this 4th and 2, and does the 12th man impact their ability to change the play?
Home run ball caught inside the 20 to Burks.
How about that execution? You keep your offense on the field, they get over the ball quickly. You freeze the defense, you look to the sideline, but then Franks changed the play again at the line of scrimmage.
Franks quickly throw. And that's a catch by Blake Kern at the 1.
The tight end position figuring prominently in the passing game for the Razorbacks.
No time to think about it or review it, and instead, touchdown Tyson Morris. What a job by Felipe Franks in the offense. Let's not give anybody any chance to go under the hood. Get the next play off. Touchdown Arkansas.
You see the Aggies, look at the numbers. They got 1 defender in the frame. Great awareness by Treylon Burks. As the Aggies tried to rally out there, but you look out. You got 3 of your guys and 1 of their guys. Just flip it out there.
Extra point by A.J. Reed makes it 21-14. What a job by Felipe Franks. On a 4th down, he finds Burks. 5 for 5 passing, and the Razorbacks are within a score.
Regions halftime report right around the corner. How Auburn and Ole Miss lit up scoreboards and some record books in the process offensively. What do you think here first half?
Felipe Franks, part of the running game today. It's effective.
I can't get over how many good tight ends there are in this league. Weidemeyer is one of them.
Yes, indeed he is. See it happen.
Dar, I can't believe what Auburn did to LSU. It started with outstanding defense, forcing all those interceptions and fumbles, and then Bo Nix. Auburn offense went wild on the Plains in that 48-11 victory over LSU. This is picked up at the 2-yard line by the Aggies' Chase Lane. And A&M will have 4 minutes and 7 seconds left in the first half. Most teams, that's an eternity. For Jimbo Fisher, that's like half a possession.
we might not make it to halftime. They might have to hurry up at the end of this drive. They do a fantastic job of possessing the football. They've also done a good job of being able to answer in this game so far. 4th and 2, your defense thinks maybe it gets off the field. Instead, you give up a big play. Can your offense now for the Aggies come back and provide an answer?
Well, they've scored touchdowns in their last 3 possessions, and Mon will try his receiver Jones, and he gets up near the 35-yard line, just short of a first. Hezekiah playing for the first time since 2018 and 15 catches that season. This is Spiller. Isaiah's tripped up. Greg Brooks makes the tackle. Spiller does get the first down.
A shoestring tackle. It looked to me almost like Spiller was going to be able to break this once again. They just got such good feel for that backside cut. And you can see it. They almost hit that run straight downhill. Good job by Greg Brooks. He was the last guy left defending that backdoor cut. But not before Spiller could get the first.
Mon takes off and slides, gives himself up at the 40. It'll be second down. You are seeing some RPOs now in Jimbo Fisher's offense. He credited James Coley, tight ends coach now for the Aggies, who was the offensive coordinator at Georgia as recently as last season for that. On taking the clock down inside 2.5 minutes left in the first half, and will throw underneath And Jones says he made that catch, and he did.
The 5th target for Hezekiah Jones, and a great job by Kellen Mond in the pocket. Pressured, and he had to slide to his right and then throw all the way across his body. You see the 2 Razorback defenders. It's pretty good concentration by Jones. You see the officials.
They're measuring right now to see. Just 2:16 left in the first half in this rivalry game, and that is a first down for the Aggies.
It's a great job by Mond. Yeah, right there to get that conversion, Taylor. I mean, we talk about how well A&M has protected. Well, part of that isn't always just a pristine pocket, although we've seen that. It's the ability of your quarterback to make a play. Sometimes it's throwing it away, but that time it was enough to get a conversion on a strike.
Kellen looks like he wants to load up. Doesn't like what he sees under, so he takes off, stays on his feet, first down. That's exactly what you were just talking about. A guy that has tremendous understanding of where everything is happening on the field and makes the smart play.
Well, they tried to catch Arkansas running downhill. They run heavy play action, but they only rush 3. The linebacker checked up a little bit. Nowhere to go with the football. Be smart. You're an athlete. Tuck it, run it, and get another 10 yards. Move the chains, and that's the athleticism we talked about on the top of this show. And Kellen Mond, not just a great passer, but a pretty dangerous runner as well.
One heck of a leader, too. And 1st and 10, likes what he sees this time, and it's Weidermeyer again. Riding the Razorbacks all the way near the 5.
He's 265 pounds. How are you going to get him to the ground? You better bring a friend. There's Weidermeyer again. And it's sitting there right between. You got 3 deep effectively. Hudson Clark, the corner deep, and they're dropping it right there between the corner and the safety. And Weidermeyer with the effort after the catch. He picked up another 5 yards, just carrying some hogs with him.
Bring a friend. How about bring 5 and you still can't get him down? This is Spiller, and Isaiah gets a touchdown.
There's your answer. And A&M's done it twice now. Punch, counter punch. Isaiah Spiller again finding it on the back door. We saw Greg Brooks make a nice tackle earlier in this drive. That time, nobody was denying number 28 in the end zone. He's done a great job all season forcing missed tackles. At almost 300 yards after contact coming into this game, and he's only padding his stats.
28-7 now is Isaiah Spiller, and the Aggies having one heck of a first half, 4 consecutive touchdown drives, this being the latest. This season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, All-State will make a contribution to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you, All-State. Matt Stinchcomb and Lauren Sisler. I'm Taylor Zarzer as A&M leads the Hogs, trying to win for a 9th straight time. Felipe Franks and the Razorbacks will have 1 minute and 13 seconds, starting at their own 25-yard line, and they do have 3 timeouts. For the Aggies, it's been a 3-headed monster so far tonight with Mond, Spiller, and Smith.
Yeah, I mean, look at the 3 touches for Aniyah Smith, right? And he's got the 2 catches on the game, but Kellen Mond, some of those pull reads, he's done a great job carrying the football, a couple of scrambles on that last drive. And it's just heady play. guy's seen a lot of football, something that came up. We were talking with the Arkansas coaching staff. You just can't simulate experience. He's seen a lot of different things. Arkansas moving the football well also. I mean, look at this, and they're getting contributions from the quarterback position.
It's Boyd back in the game, and Boyd, with that carry, is over 2,000 career rushing yards as an Arkansas Razorback. Now Franks will load up down the field, and it's Burks tangled up, and a flag comes down. That's Antonio Johnson, the true freshman, that was in coverage.
Well, the Aggie coaching staff so high on Antonio Johnson, but matched up against one of the best offensive players in the conference, frankly, in Treylon Burks. He hadn't been healthy a lot this year, but a true freshman going up against the sophomore, 6'3", 235. His catch radius is pretty impressive, and most of it is hands. I mean, the guy's got enormous hands. And the fact that he's able to get separation downfield, it's bound to give any defensive back a little bit of panic when that ball's in the air and you can feel it coming your way.
There are 2 fouls by the defense. Personal foul, face mask, number 27. Pass interference, number 27, defense. 15-yard penalty for a previous spot. First down.
So you see the holding. Don't really see the face mask.
And Burks' hand was stretched out towards Johnson. And Antonio, freshman from East St. Louis, called for the penalty. So 16-yard play on the ground to start the drive, and then a pass interference call. And Arkansas now is in business with all their timeouts and 57 seconds until the half.
The personal foul, face mask is declined. Pass interference is enforced from the previous spot. First down.
To spark this drive from Rakeem Boyd, who started out hot in this football game, and then you get the PI and the penalties, and you're no doubt excellent field position with plenty of time and timeouts to save.
Franks throwing deep, and that is almost picked off. Another flag comes down. Damani Richardson and Leon O'Neal were the closest people to the football.
How do you not come up with an interception right there? Amazed that the Aggies didn't turn that football over as we check the flags.
Pass interference, number 9, defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Leon O'Neal. He was limping a little bit earlier, Taylor. A non-contact injury, a run towards the boundary. You see O'Neal working in the slot. Yeah, there's a good reason why there was only Aggies in the picture. They held Treylon Burks again in the slot. Damani Richardson coming over from safety and showing why he's not a receiver. Why he didn't come up with at least the ball in his hands.
46 yards on 3 plays, 30 of those yards coming on penalties. Franks throws back to Henry, and right there with him to make the tackle is Miles Jones.
First charge timeout, Arkansas.
Play, and Arkansas
30-second
timeout.
Yeah, Miles Jones was all over that one. And you could tell, you could see it's a delay release. They want to try to sneak that tight end out. Looks like he's in the blocking scheme. Miles Jones wasn't having it. Really well played by the other number 0 of Texas A&M.
Yeah, he's such a great tackler, Stinch, and such a great special teams player that's why Aniyah Smith has to wear 2 different uniforms throughout the game. Jones is so invaluable that Jones has to change, or Smith rather has to change jerseys every time he's on special teams.
Which is weird, right? Because Smith, if he's a punt returner, he's on offense now. I don't know why he wouldn't get to keep 0 and make Miles Jones. Why didn't he change it? Maybe it's because he was just out there on defense. He'd have to run over there and put his jersey on because he was already out on the field.
One's a sophomore,
don't have time.
One's a sophomore, one's a senior, and Jones is the upperclassman. 2nd and 15 now for Arkansas. And it's a handoff to Boyd, and Rakeem gets inside the 30, down near the 27. Let's see if Arkansas uses another timeout here, and they do.
Second charge timeout, Arkansas. 30-second timeout.
You would think still plenty of time here, Stinch, to have a chance to maybe go for 6 points here instead of just end up with 3 before the half. Remember, Arkansas does get the ball first in the 3rd quarter.
There's no doubt. You got a timeout to play with, 36 seconds on the clock. You see if you can't pop a run on that draw play. You're looking to get a conversion, obviously here on the 3rd down, but the whole field is available to you. You've got that timeout to use if you're thinking you want to go for it even. And right now, if you're Sam Pittman, Kendall Briles, the kind of first half that they've had, where they've been able to answer. They started out this game fast. This is exactly the way they wanted to. And as you mentioned, look at this football back in the 2nd half. How many points can they squeeze out of this possession here to end the half?
Perfect world, you'd want to see scores on both of those possessions to get back in the football game before the Aggies have the football again. They've scored on their last 4 drives. Franks has been good tonight, 12 of 14 for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's in trouble here, and he's going down back at the 32-yard line. Tyree Johnson wrestles him down.
The 4th tackle for loss by this A&M Aggie defense. And you see it on the edge. Tyree Johnson just never bought it. He's unaccounted for, and Felipe Franks.
Second charge timeout, Texas A&M.
Getting rid of the
30-second
football.
timeout.
He's under duress almost immediately. He's done a great job of avoiding pressure. Throw the football away.
It was A&M that called timeout there as we take another look. Johnson, the
Tyree
junior
Johnson
from
just got
Washington,
upfield.
D.C.
Yeah, did a great job getting upfield right away. Franks could not escape. Looked like he was going to seek to escape to his right. Tyree Johnson got upfield quickly, gathered himself enough to get Franks on the ground, who's done a good job of escaping. We've said a couple of times here in the 1st half. How did he stay on his feet?
It's a little strange to see him staying on the field on that 4th and 13 because they are in A.J. Reed's territory, and after A&M calls timeout, Coach Pittman puts A.J. on the field. This will be from 49 yards. He missed from 48. Plenty of leg, but hooks this one. He pushed the first one and hooks the second one. And Arkansas comes up empty.
What a huge play by Johnson. If you think about it, the negative yardage play, push this field goal attempt back just enough. Because you got to think, what, that thing's 3 or 4 more yards further upfield. And even if it is leaking to the left, by then it hooks inside of that upright. Instead, you come away with no points off of what started out to be a really promising possession. Steal some points right before half, and instead the Aggie defense able to get a stop.
Statistically, it's a pretty tight game. Difference is, though, is Arkansas has had to settle for field goals on 2 possessions when they were in Aggie territory, and they came up empty both of those times.
The difference between football.
All right, Dari Noka, Chris Doring, Roman Harper, and Gene Chiswick have you covered back in the studio as the Aggies lead the Razorbacks at the break.
And making your
Guys, thank you very much as we welcome you into the Regions Halftime Report. Dari, Doring, and Chizik here. And we talked a lot about the Arkansas defense and the matchup against the A&M offense. To this point, it appears the matchup has gone A&M's way. How come?
Yeah, A&M's offense right now has had 5.
1.
What a first half as the Aggies have the lead over Arkansas 28-14 as we start the second half. Taylor Zarzer, Matt Stinchcomb, and Lauren Sisler. Let's take a look at our first half stats brought to you by Zaxby Stinch.
Now you look at it, I mean, it's highly similar stats, right? And you talk about the contributions we've seen from the quarterback position here in the first half. A big fourth down conversion by the Arkansas Razorbacks allowed them to climb back into this game. Missed opportunity, though, at the end of the first half. Some really good performances, though, from both of these QBs, including number 11 for Texas A&M.
Mond has been terrific. 13 of 16 passing, 177 yards, and 2 touchdowns. With another 100 yards in the second half, he'll go over 10,000 passing yards in his career, and 90 to pass Johnny Manziel for the most total yards as an Aggie quarterback. But Arkansas will get it first, down 2 scores. For more on the Razorbacks, let's go down to Lauren.
Yeah, so I talked to Coach Pittman, and he said, what we talked about coming into this football game is we got to get the first down. And they accomplished that. He said, we just have to tackle better, get off the field on third downs. He said, it's obvious that both defenses aren't playing that well when they've only punted the ball each one time. He talked to the team in the locker room. He said, the message is, we're facing adversity. Let's come out. Let's change that. He feels they have a good chance of doing that out here in the second half.
Well, they've moved the football, Lauren, every time but once tonight into A&M territory, scoring 2 touchdowns, coming up empty with 2 missed field goals by A.J. Reed. Felipe Franks, impressive first half numbers. And he goes to the ground, and Rakeem Boyd, who's been good tonight, picks up near 9 yards. That's 10 carries for over 60 in the game, Stinch.
Yeah, and coming into this game, he just wasn't averaging a ton of yardage, only 2.5 yards a carry.
Gets the first down run here, moving the chains past the 35-yard line. Boyd had a terrific year last year as a junior, has been banged up at times in 2020. 3 straight carries for the senior from Houston. Spent a redshirt season at Texas A&M out of high school. Didn't work out. Transferred to Independence Community College for a year before winding up in Fayetteville. Now Franks gets a block from Boyd. No place to go as the pocket collapses. It's third down.
Not a second sack in this game, and you think about the one, a costly one right there at the end of the second quarter. Then here, another opportunity to get rid of the football. We've seen him do a good job of escaping pressure. You don't want to fall in love with that element of it, though. 3 defenders around you, unload that football, save the lost yardage.
They'll give it to Michael Clemens, graduate player, as it's 3rd and 9. And that's caught by Henry, and the flag comes in as there looked to be helmet-to-helmet contact.
The defender definitely came in high, right as Hudson Henry gathered in that pass.
Seven defense. The play's under further review.
This is the true freshman, Antonio Johnson.
We saw Johnson in the first half flagged for pass interference. It didn't look like he led with his head, but was there forcible contact to the head or neck area of the receiver? And that actually looks a little more damning than the first one. The shot to me from the defense's perspective, in the opposite end zone. And this look here. The question is, I don't know that his right shoulder, did it make contact with his head right up into the head of Hudson Henry as he made that catch?
Well, I think you're exactly right. I think that's what they're going to be looking at here. The replay official tonight is Ken Switzer as he talks to referee Mark Curls. Because I agree with you, he did lead with that shoulder, but is the attack at the head and neck area that, to me, is going to determine whether it keeps Johnson in the game or not.
Yeah, and it's so tough right here because you see Hudson Henry's going down, and it looked as if Antonio Johnson wasn't coming in high, but because Henry was going down, he ended up hitting him higher than he clearly intended.
Finish it up and see if Johnson gets to stay in or not.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Number 27 is disqualified. 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. First down.
So that means Johnson will miss the duration of this game and the first half against South Carolina next week.
And a secondary now short-handed. When we talk about the true freshman earlier, the coaching staff brought him up. Even in speaking with Buddy Johnson and Kellen Mond, have been impressed with his contributions, now unavailable for the balance of this game.
Fake toss to Boyd, and Franks will fall down. The turf monster gets him just inside the 37-yard line.
You know, sometimes always falling forward kind of gets you. He's got that forward lean, and the hash marks caught him right there. The right toe kind of stubbed right into the hash mark. Those lines are not raised on the field. Regardless, Franks did a great job at least gaining yardage that time.
A little quick throw past the 30 to Henry, and it's near an Arkansas first down. 8 straight completions for Felipe Franks. Maybe that, if I come out of retirement for Halloween next year, Stench, if you let me out, maybe that's what I'll be, as a turf monster.
Dress up as a hash mark?
First and 10, deep ball into double coverage, and here comes another flag. Leon O'Neal could be in some trouble here.
A couple of flags came in at the end of that one. O'Neal coming over from his safety position. Miles Jones in the coverage.
Pass interference, number 0, defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
So they call the interference on Jones.
I see the PI. Leon O'Neal saying, I didn't do anything, and I think the officials would agree. You didn't. It was Miles Jones.
That's what threw me off, is O'Neal was trying to defend himself for no reason. And instead, it should have been Jones pleading his case, and it gives Arkansas the ball inside the 15-yard line. Franks hands it off, throw to the end zone, incomplete. Burks was looking to throw a touchdown pass to Mike Woods.
It was Leon O'Neal who rallied underneath this route. They had Burks line up in the backfield with Franks. Leon O'Neal is just trying to rally back to the open receiver, and Woods hit him in the back of his pads.
You hear the 12th man. It certainly sounds like more than 27,000, but that's how many are in the building tonight, roaring at Franks. He drops the football as the exchange doesn't work with Boyd. Lucky to get another play.
The quarterback doesn't press it into the belly. Oh, they just missed the mesh point. That's on Rakeem Boyd. As you see Felipe Franks, he's reading the defense. He's not bringing the ball to the ball carrier. The ball carrier has to come to the ball. He has to make the mesh point. That time Boyd didn't get in tight enough to Felipe Franks, and the ball ends up on the turf.
Largest crowd in college football in 2020, 3rd and 11. Dump off to Boyd, there is a flag down, and Rakeem is down near the 6.
Holding, number 76, offense. 10-yard penalty, replay, 3rd down.
It's the big left tackle, Myron Cunningham. They're trying to get Boyd across the formation. Yeah, Cunningham, he just kind of hog ties Tyree Johnson around the neck. He gets spun around like that. And sometimes, you know, when you're anticipating a quick throw, you don't set deep enough. The ball's still in the quarterback's hands. You panic a little bit there towards the end. It backs up your offense.
3rd and 21. Hogs have to get near the 5 to move the chains. And they've got a kicker who's missed 2 field goals.
Traylon Burks just above the hash mark, between the hash and the numbers, and the Hogs want to take a look at this thing.
First charge timeout, Arkansas.
Felipe Franks will go talk to offensive coordinator Kendall Briles and Sam Pittman about this big 3rd and forever. Well, basically what this means is that Texas A&M has the largest crowd in college football in 2020. That's the average capacity through the first 2 games. Vanderbilt game, the first one of the season, had around 21,000. Florida game had about 27,000 in the stands, and that's how many are in the stands tonight at Kyle Field, home of the 12th man, and it is loud in there. You can understand why Dan Mullen was so upset after the Aggies beat his Gators a few weeks ago. It seats over 100,000. The 12th man feels like there's many more than 27,000 as the Razorbacks have 3rd and 21. Franks from a muddy pocket just dumps it underneath, and Boyd will make this a more comfortable kick for A.J. Reed.
For a second there, I wondered if Boyd had injured himself after that run. As you see Franks talking with Burks, likely the primary target on that 3rd and 21 play regardless. As you mentioned, Taylor, Boyd just does a good job chipping away at the yardage needed versus the last time Reed was run out there when the offense was going backwards prior to his attempt.
This from 34. And this one is good. New score, 28-17. For more on the 12th man, let's go back down to Lauren.
Hey guys, there is no doubt the 12th man has showed up tonight. I talked about this earlier. You walk into the stadium and even if it's empty, you're just in awe. It's beautiful to see. But then when you fill it with 27,000 fans, I'm pretty sure that is magnified tonight. They are all on their feet. Of course, it's Halloween. People are dressed up. And the Corps of Cadets bringing another level of energy in here. But it's hard to say that there's only 27,000 fans in here. On one side of the stadium, it seems like there's a lot more. On this other side, not quite as many, but I'm telling you, the energy in here is real, and I think it's really going to help Texas A&M here in the second half as Arkansas tries to make a comeback.
It really is unique, Stench, that in 2020 you have to get adjusted to a crowd being involved in a stadium.
Yeah, I mean, how active do you have to be when there's, what do we say, 20-something% of the overall capacity. So just imagine this place when it's actually full. But if there's ever a fan base that can impact a football game, that embraces their role quite literally as the 12th man, it's Texas A&M. And they've got 50 different activities going on during the game.
Place sways when it's full. As we found out, calling that 7 OT win the Aggies had over LSU 2 years ago. They finally get the football on offense. Feels like they haven't been out there in an eternity, because Arkansas finished the first half with the ball and started the second half with it. But Kellen Mond, when he was out there, was terrific.
He was. And, we talked about some of the passing, Nia Smith emerging. But Kellen Mond, the way he was able to manage the pocket at times, scrambled when he needed to, but also in some of the pull, the reads that he has in the run game.
This is Spiller, and Isaiah gets up near the 30-yard line. 10th carry for Isaiah, now 44 yards. He did have a touchdown run in the first half.
Spiller coming into this game, you could make a pretty good argument. The top backs in the conference, his average per carry was almost 7 yards a touch. And you look at that and you're thinking, gosh, this guy, 3 out of the last 4 games, eclipses 100 yards rushing. Feed him behind this offensive front.
He's gone over 100 in all the wins. He's going backwards here, as that was snuffed out by Julius Coates to the rest of the Razorback teammates.
Big Jonathan Marshall. I mean, we were wondering about him in this game. He's done a great job this season at a key spot for the Razorback defense, because they spent so much time trying to control the run game. As you see Spiller limping off the field, that is pretty significant, to say the least. And you've got Nia Smith. He's not an every down back like Spiller.
We also have Devon Achane that's in there on this 3rd and 8. Mond has a first down throw past the 35-yard line as he finds Hezekiah Jones making his return to the Aggies tonight.
Talking to Kellen Mond, he said, I think I'm throwing the deep ball better this year than I have before. It's the intermediate throws, the consistency there that I've wanted to improve. Tonight, I think we can say we have seen a largely on-target and on-time passer in Kellen Mond. Part of that's a function of the protection that he's largely gotten.
Achane gets the toss, and Devon is near the 40-yard line. True freshman from Missouri City, Texas. Let's go back down to Lauren.
Yeah, Jimbo Fisher said that Kellen Mond has improved in so many ways, especially his understanding of the game, his checks in both the running and passing game. But he's also become much more of a vocal leader, which Kellen says was all part of him realizing his role and watching how other guys around him on this football team became leaders.
Yeah, and there's no question that the leadership, especially when you've had opt-outs, 5 of them as Texas A&M has, it's a big factor this year. Another completion to Smith, first down Aggies.
Right over the football. I mean, we're seeing some of these routes, especially as they center up over the formation. You're seeing Kellen Mond delivering strikes in the middle of the football field. And once again, Nia Smith showing his versatility for the Aggie offense. And what's been impressive to me, Taylor, in this game is that when Arkansas has been able to move the football, which has been often in this game, the Aggie offense has been able to come right back out there, not only establish drives, but capitalize on those drives to be able to answer.
Kellen has plenty of time to get this one to Lane, and soft coverage down the field yields a big play. Chase is inside the 25.
You said it. I mean, we've seen this time and time again. You got Hudson Clark. He's playing deep third, and the ball's getting completed in front of him. Earlier in the first half, we're seeing balls completed, tight ends between the deep middle field safety and the corners. But you're right, soft, wide open in that zone on the left side.
26 yards to the redshirt freshman on that play. They toss it ahead to Smith, and he won't get much there as Bumper Poole chases him all over the field. Second down.
Great job by number 10 for Arkansas. He diagnoses quickly, he triggers quickly from linebacker, and was able to get upfield and to the outside of the formation before Smith could get going. Dangerous proposition if you can get him out there on the edge and into space. Number 10 already in Bumper Poole with 11 tackles in this game.
At 20 against Mississippi State. It's everywhere. This to the sideline. And caught again by Lane. There's a few words for Hudson Clark. It's third down.
Yeah, telling Hudson Clark about it a little bit. Just earned his scholarship at the end of the season, they announced. Walk on this year. Had 3 interceptions last time out. This time, Chase Lane, a guy who is starting to emerge among that wide receiver group. See Clark, gonna follow him over there to the field side. Singled up with Chase Lane again at the top of your screen.
Spiller's back in, but he's covered up to the end zone. Weidermeyer's open. Touchdown.
There's some pretty good tight ends in this conference. Jalen Weidermeyer, Kyle Pitts. I don't know. I like Weidermeyer a lot too. You see Kellen Mond takes a shot. Grant Morgan at the end of that one, and once again delivers another great throw for the Aggies.
Kellen Mond has the most total yards in Aggie history with that touchdown pass to Weidermeyer, passing Johnny Manziel. All Aggies tonight. Kellen Mond at the top. 1 yard to get to 10,000, passes Johnny Manziel in career total yards. Now, of course, Johnny Football only played 3 years in college, won the 2012 Heisman Trophy, and came back for his junior season. Still so impressive what Mond has been able to do, Stinch, in his 4 years in College Station as a 4-year starter.
There's no doubt. Yeah, I mean, it's an important distinction to point out, but a heck of an accomplishment. And frankly, you know, if Kellen Mond really wants to do it, come back next year, man. Keep it going. This year doesn't count, right? So maybe a little bit of an asterisk. He'll definitely finish well north of 10,000.
Caden Davis has been kicking it into the end zone all night. Let's get a studio update from Dari.
Yeah, guys, at halftime of Florida-Missouri, certainly eventful. This is what happened after a hit that Florida deemed late and dirty on Kyle Trask. Tempers were flaring. There were 3 ejections. Second half starts. Gators come out, and they stay hot. Kadarius Toney's 3rd touchdown of the night. 27-7 Florida early in the 3rd.
Wow, how about that? So some hostility there between the Tigers and the Gators, and that wasn't just like everybody's talking either. I mean, that was aggressive in the middle of the field with some punches being thrown, so we could get some news on that in a couple days. Time for Felipe Franks and the offense for the Razorbacks to dig out of this hole, and lowers the shoulder down to the 29-yard line. It's second down.
A nice run again by Felipe Franks, and it looked like he nicked up Leon O'Neal there at the end of his run. Pretty physical finish there towards the end, and O'Neal probably just took a helmet to the shin. I'm sure he'll be fine. But Franks again with that pull read and able to get out on the edge and pick up positive yards.
Boyd, first down for Arkansas. Back to Franks for a moment. Here's a guy that has been starting in college football games now for 4 years. Had that terrible injury last season against Kentucky. Decides to transfer to the Razorbacks, and very quickly has become the leader of the team. Boyd will get a few more. And people wondered about that, Stinch, given some of the ups and downs, some of the controversies with his antics on the field. How would he behave? How would he handle being the quarterback of the Arkansas Razorbacks? The answer, he has been sensational, and he has been a perfect guy on and off the field for Sam Pittman.
Well, if there was a program that needed some level of stability, a veteran presence, it was Arkansas, and Felipe Franks has provided all of it.
2nd and 7, he throws underneath, incomplete, trying to squeeze it in there to Trey Knox. Let's quickly go to Lauren.
Hey guys, Franks has a lot of qualities about him, arm strength, accuracy. Now where he can improve is tempo, protecting the football, being smarter, but OC Kendall Briles said he grades him very hard, and he just needs to clean some stuff up, no mental errors, but he loves his mindset and his winner-like qualities.
He does not seem ever rattled by any stage he's in. He did get deflected by Aaron Hansford on that last play. 3rd and 7, and this one is thrown a bit behind Henry. It's 4th down.
A little bit behind, coming in hot. Hudson Henry has had himself a pretty good night. Not a ton of yards, but he's come through in the clutch a couple of times.
Number
Best
0
production
Texas
that
A&M
he's
is
had
now wearing
in his
number 19.
career
Number 0 A&M wearing
for
number
Hudson
19.
Henry. But not on this one, as he kind of settles down, and Henry wants that one back. A little bit behind him, sure, but the defense is rallying from the middle. Buddy Johnson was coming. Had a chance to make the conversion, just couldn't get a handle on it.
It's just the 2nd punt of the night for Reed Bauer. As Aniyah Smith switching jerseys again, and he'll be tackled past the 30-yard line. Aggies have been terrific on offense all night as we have a late flag coming in here. All right, we'll check on that flag in just a moment. Kellen Mond back on the field. A&M offense has been outstanding so far tonight. And a lot of guys up front are responsible, playing almost as terrific as Mr. Stinchcomb did back in his college football days that led to the Hall of Fame and a 1st-round draft pick. They gave up 2 sacks in the first half against Vanderbilt in the first game of the season. And they haven't given up any since, protecting Kellen Mond. 1st and 10. Their own 32. Mond, look at all that time to throw the football and to the sideline. It is incomplete. 2nd down. How about those maroon goons, Stinch?
How about that jersey of Kellen Mond? I mean, the guy's run all day and he still looks pristine. Did he change at halftime? Because they keep him clean. I mean, it's been really impressive. When you think these guys haven't given up a sack in 16 quarters, 16 quarters. It's 284 pass attempts before that one. Can't say enough about the way they work together. Because you look at them and you think, does any one guy really stand out? Yeah, I mean, there's some big ones. They all stand out. They're all 300-plus pounds. They work so well together as a unit, not just in protection, but in the run game as well.
2nd and 10 after the incompletion, and that's underneath to Smith for a couple, Lauren.
Entire offense, receivers are getting open faster. Kellen Mond is making better reads, and they just have this mentality of nobody touches our quarterback, and they take offense to it when the opposing teams do that. So a big turnaround from a season ago. So that might explain why his jersey looks so pristine.
Yeah.
It does. It's clean tonight. Let's see if Mond can move the chains on this 3rd and 7. And yes, he can. Man, that was a bullet. The ball does come free at the end as Smith. Let's see if they say he was down. And I do believe they will keep the football with the Aggies.
Kind of short motion,
on the
Smith.
field is a catch and runner down before the ball coming loose. First down.
See go down, hit the ground. Back of his numbers are on the turf by the time that ball comes popping out. Another conversion and another well-thrown football from Kellen Mond. You can see, you know, with Hezekiah Jones as well, I think coming in here, the wide receiving core becoming more and more dangerous for the Aggies.
Spiller, incredible ability to just weave his way through traffic there. Bumper Pool makes another tackle.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you look at backs and they like to dance. They'll dance all the time. And you're sitting there going, hey, man, eventually we got to get downfield. Put your foot in the ground, start gaining some yards. That time Spiller did a great job, to me, of showing patience. Sometimes you'll see a back, and they'll do one of those little quick jumps, like a quick little stutter step. They're setting up a block for the guys in front.
First down run. How about they step back and move back towards the middle of the field that Spiller made? Let's hope he's okay.
I think he landed on the football at the end of that one. Well, maybe not. The way he's kind of limping. He almost looked like DeAndre Swift of the Detroit Lions with this one-step cut. Watch this. That cut brought to you by the Orthopedic Surgeons Association of America. And that was wicked.
That foot in the ground. It always makes me nervous. It's a 1st and 10 as A-Chain gets to get a few reps. And look at the freshman go! Touchdown!
"25 runs, 25 passes, and another touchdown for the Aggies. A couple of broken tackles. I count 3 in the open field. See why A-Chain has really caught the attention of this Aggie roster.
(42-17) Aggies. I understand why the RPOs and the quick game was brought into college football. Defenses have had a world of trouble trying to adjust to it. Jimbo Fisher hasn't changed much throughout the entire time. In a couple of decades, he's one of 6 active coaches in college football that's won a national championship, and his offenses may move slower, but they stay on the field, they get first downs, and you just referenced the extraordinary balance they have.
Yeah, you said it, Taylor. I mean, he's happy to add wrinkles, but the guys won a lot of games with what they do. And there's no doubt the Q run game gets in there, and they'll go tempo and mess around with that some. The RPO game, as you mentioned earlier, James Coley coming in, adding some of that. But the ground game, the rushing attack, the contributions from the quarterback position, and really what is proving to be a pretty deep stable of backs for the Aggies, and they're showing out here tonight.
25 passes, 25 runs, and 3 of each on that last scoring drive. And I do think, Stench, that the team that is on the field tonight here in College Station had to get adjusted to the 5 players that opted out when they played Vanderbilt and had that close call in the first week of the season and then lost to Alabama. And they've done that. No Jamon Osborne, no Anthony Hines, 2 significant contributors. They've gotten adjusted to the players they have. And now this is a team that looks like the 8th ranked team in the country as Traylon Smith takes a big hit after a few.
There's no doubt that it took them some time to spool up this year, to start playing better and better. especially offensively, because as you mentioned, a lot of new faces.
It's a backwards pass that goes out of bounds, and it will be a first down for Burks. Count as a rush.
You can see the play caller there, Taylor, and Kendall Briles come running down there, signaling the formation, wanting Traylon Burks to get back out there and lined up.
9-yard run. Now Franks. He's shown a little Archie Manning tonight, just dodging tacklers left and right, and he gets a few there.
That's actually a darn good comparison, really. You know, he's just heady enough, really, when you see him. And other than, you know, he took a couple of sacks earlier in this game, but he's found ways, might be cramping up a little bit. You see him kind of drop down to try to stretch out that calf muscle at the end of that last run.
Clock runs out on the third quarter. Aggies offense has been sensational, running the football at will and throwing it too. And now let's take a look at our 15 minutes or less, brought to you by Geico.
Well, that was Arkansas, and you know, they were right back into it. Start out hot in this game. Traylon Burks with the touchdown reception. Kellen Mond answers. Anais Smith, a man of many talents. Jalen Weidermeyer, who's improved his blocking significantly. They get back into the end zone with Spiller.
And this is live now with Franks, who was cramping at the end of the third quarter, but takes off again. And you see him very quickly get another football in there because Kendall Briles wants to go faster than anybody.
Yeah, you know, after cramping up like that, you expect him to kind of waddle around. Instead, he ends up getting a carry.
28-yard run and then a strike to Mike Woods. And just like that, the Razorbacks are down to the Aggie 15.
And this is not just a function of the scoreboard, right? This is their default setting. This is where they want to get those gateway first downs. They want to stand on the gas.
Smith runs right back at the heart of that Aggie defense, and big Bobby Brown is there to make the tackle.
That time they were trying to get to their counter run, something that they haven't been able to get going tonight. And they were expecting to have some success running some of their counters, pulling their offensive linemen because of how active the Aggie front is. And that time, Bobby Brown was waiting in the backfield.
Coach Briles will go a little slower with this one as Franks comes up to the line. A design quarterback run. Again, the heart of the Aggie defense doesn't budge. Give that one to Aaron Hansford, the wide receiver turned starting linebacker after Hines opted out. He's had a terrific senior year.
That was an interesting story. Mike Elko said he didn't even know he was. Showed up in bowl prep one day and decided he wanted to try linebacker. Has proven to have a real nose for it.
A strike to the end zone to Burks again, his second touchdown.
They had to like the matchup pre-snap. Buddy Johnson in coverage on Traylon Burks. Safety over top. Look at that ball from Felipe Franks. And you can see why Mike Elko and the coaches at Texas A&M said, look, this kid's got a live arm. And if he's got time where he can stand and deliver, he can. The ball pops.
It was a perfect pass to, as you said, one of the best receivers in the SEC. Razorbacks trying to get back in it.
Don't forget to vote on Election Day, November 3rd. For more information, visit IamAvoter.com.
Dory Noka in studio with our comeback moment, supplemented by Aflac. Florida, 2 weeks, no games. They came back to the field and did it in style. Kadarius Toney having a Beautiful night. 3 touchdowns for him. They are rolling over Missouri, 34-7 on the ultimate.
Impressive stuff over there in the swamp. Again, we'll see what happens with that fight that happened near halftime, if it has any impact on the Gators next week against the Dogs. Meanwhile here, Arkansas has struggled all night with this Texas A&M Aggie offense led by Kellen Mond.
It's been a challenge, there's no doubt, and we knew it coming in. We're talking about a guy that already had 25 victories under his belt. Seen a lot of football, and they knew that this offense was starting to round into form. Arkansas, when we talked to their coaches, Barry Odom said, look, I'm worried. I think these guys are going to just line up and run it right at us. He said we expect a more QB run, and really exactly what the Arkansas defense was expecting. They've gotten that in this game.
Spiller is ahead for 7 or 8. You have to give Barry Odom, the defensive coordinator for Arkansas, a ton of credit for the way the Razorbacks have played through the first 4 weeks. 10 interceptions in 4 games. That's 2-3 games less than a lot of teams in college football, and that's the most that any team has in terms of creating interceptions. 13 total turnovers they've created. Key tonight for Texas A&M was never to make a dangerous pass, and Mond hasn't done it yet.
No, I don't think we've seen a single ball in jeopardy. Hasn't needed to be.
Stutter step by Spiller. He'll lose yardage on the play, and you guessed it, bumper pool, always near the football.
And part of it's been, you look at this A&M offense, they've gotten into quite the groove. I mean, other than taking a knee right there at the end of the second quarter, 6 straight drives, touchdowns. That's quite a rhythm to fall into.
3rd and 4, and Arkansas comes across. That's Dorian Gerald.
Guy they've been excited to get back.
Offside, number 5, defense unabated to the quarterback. The 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Yeah, he's trying so hard, Stench, to get back on the field. He's missed the last 3 games. Had that leg injury in the first week against the Dogs, and commits a big penalty there.
Yeah, a guy's just anxious, wants to get back out there and wants to get going a little bit. Was in on the play on the previous snap. Just got a little froggy pre-snap on that one.
Option toss to Spiller, and he's out of bounds after another nice first down run for about 8 more before Slusher pushes him out. It will be fascinating to see as the SEC, like every conference, changes week to week. Who in the world would have thought Auburn would crush LSU 48-11 today? But if you're looking at the way this Texas A&M football team is playing right now, they certainly will have a chance, if not be favored, in every game the rest of the way. And if Alabama doesn't lose more than 1 game, A&M doesn't have to play in the SEC championship game.
That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, they've already faced the team that will likely represent the West. Flag comes in. And as we've already shown a little bit earlier, this is
holding, number 55 offense. 10-yard penalty, replay second down.
Favorable schedule for the Aggies. I mean, I think there's quite a bit of discussion that could surround the only 2 games where the Aggies aren't currently favored according to FPI, and that would be LSU and Auburn. LSU's at best Jekyll and Hyde. They had the game versus South Carolina last week. A little bit surprising. A regression, I think, to what would have otherwise been expected with a backup quarterback in TJ Finley today. I wonder how good LSU will be down the stretch, especially defensively.
Spiller will get a couple as the tackle's made by Coates. be favored in Columbia next week, and then at Tennessee on November the 14th, before the Ole Miss Rebels are in College Station on November 21st. LSU coming to town the Saturday after Thanksgiving and finishing the season on the Plains. And all we can do is make thoughts based on what we're seeing right now. I guess a better point would be how much each of these teams are going to change in this COVID era of college football. Mond to the sideline. It's incomplete, looking for Hezekiah Jones, but nice coverage there by Monteric Busta Brown.
Yeah, as you mentioned, and you almost wonder, are they anticipating that, compromising A&M? Because the way that they have been able to play and string together a couple of performances, given what we've seen from Auburn, you see Jimbo Fisher enthusiastically coaching his 4-year quarterback, and Kellen Mond. He talks about it often. He embraces being coached hard. It's one of the things he admires about Kellen Mond.
Fair catch made at the 24-yard line as the Razorbacks are down 18. Let's look at the 5-star play of the game, brought to you by Yellowwood.
They run the ball so well at Texas A&M. But look at this. I mean, Elias Smith, he's weaving, I think, in and out of the hash marks just to make it interesting for himself, because the defenders have been cleared out. Isaiah Spiller getting into the action. A-Chain getting into it. True freshman. The Maroon Monsoon in this one, because they're just flooding the field with rushing yards. Everybody's getting in on it.
Wouldn't be fair to just show one play. You have to show several. With the way that Texas A&M has been running the football at will against Arkansas tonight. Can Felipe Franks get his Hogs back in this one? Scored the last time they touched the football. This is a quick throw that's caught by Devion Warren, who gets around the edge, and he gets out near the 45-yard line. First catch of the night for the fifth-year senior.
Yeah, great run after catch too, huh, Taylor? I mean, that's an explosive play to say the least. I don't know what Leon O'Neal's saying after that one. That's a big gainer.
Oh, that was almost picked off by Miles Jones, who stepped in front of the football, maybe stepped too far in front of Warren there.
Squatting. You could see it, and it jumps the route, and you're right. That's a pick going the other direction. That's 2 interceptions the A&M secondary has dropped in this football game.
Felipe looks around and collapses. Down goes Franks with the pocket is Bobby Brown. All 6'4", 325 pounds, gets the sack.
You see 2 twists, just nowhere to go with the football, and ends up tripping on his tight end. Looked like it was Kern over there trying to hold up in protection, and just the pocket collapsing on top of Felipe Franks.
It's a loss of 7 now, 3rd and 17.
And they're just so good, Taylor, at generating pressure. On dropbacks especially, about 1 out of every 3 dropbacks, this Aggie defense gets home.
And it's too high for Woods. 4th down.
See Franks, he's been under duress, not constantly, but often. And in the second half, it feels like it's only ratcheted up. Obviously, the score gets away from you.
Number 0 is now wearing 19.
Takes Arkansas out of their comfort zone. Again, they're explaining the Anaya Smith jersey change. He's dressed up like a punt returner now. He's number 19.
Reed Bauer will punt. To a man that gets an announcement every time he's on the field. And he's down at the 12. He'll switch back to number 0 and take the field on offense. The senior from San Antonio, Texas, has had a terrific night tonight, breaking all kinds of records. He is number 1 in passing yards, completions, attempts, total yards, and now he's over 10,000 in his Texas A&M career.
And just did it in dominating fashion. Only 5 incompletions on 26 attempts, and he's hurt Arkansas with his legs.
Spiller will get a few as Jimbo Fisher will work on the clock. 10,015 total yards for the 4-year starter in College Station. And he's also going to break Corey Pullig's record for the most starts ever by an Ag quarterback, assuming good health, barring any kind of setback. He'll do that in 2 weeks. This is his 39th start. He'll get to 41 2 weeks from now. Aggies play at South Carolina and then at Tennessee coming up next. Runs the play clock all the way down to 1. And Spiller's got no place to go as Grant Morgan and Bumper Pool are in there again. Those two players, juniors and seniors, are the heart of the Arkansas defense.
Meet you at the ball carrier, or the receiver, quarterback. Both those guys. No Bumper Pool missed some time. Grant Morgan just had a career day while he was out. Those guys have to figure out a way to divide up the tackles because they are just so active. Part of that's made possible by the way that Arkansas front has played largely this year. The 42 anchoring the point, eating up blocks.
And on 3rd and 13, Hudson Clark comes out, and that's the first 3 and out tonight for Texas A&M. Back to Poole and Morgan for a moment.
Reset the
Razorbacks
game
will burn a timeout. Bumper had 20 tackles against Mississippi State.
30-second timeout.
And Morgan had 19 against Arkansas. Those are both, or Ole Miss rather, those are both in victories, and they're not against wishbone teams either. They're against teams that throw the football, and still to have that many tackles in a victory just gives you an idea of how often they're around the football.
Westerand got a pick 6 with one arm. Got that elbow all braced
second
up.
charge timeout of the half.
Both those linebackers, they play good ball. And tonight they combined. They joined forces for 18 stops between the two of them, which is an off night. They're used to getting 20s, right?
That's right. Constantino punts it to Burks. And the Razorbacks have 6:39 left and need to get something going in a hurry. Quite possibly the most beloved man in the natural state of Arkansas right now is first-year head coach Sam Pittman. The way he has turned around these Razorbacks at 2-2 on the season. It was fascinating to hear what he said about learning how to communicate with officials, when to go call timeout, making sure he's standing in the right place on the sideline, figuring out where the play clocks are, where they're different in every single SEC stadium. Learning on the job. He hasn't been a head coach at any level in 28 years. You certainly wouldn't think that with the way that he's turned this program around as Boyd gets 8 on first down.
No, and it's always interesting to talk to him and the things that he's most proud of. And obviously the buy-in from his players is huge. But one of the things, and he said this multiple times, is the kind of staff that he was able to put together. He's really proud of that. He should be, because his team has definitely responded. This is a different football team than it was a season ago. We saw him a lot. And
Felipe takes off.
Yeah, and more than just adding a guy like Felipe Frank, so you can't discount the impact that he's had on this team. But it's the rest of these guys that have elevated their play, and it's showing up. It's showing up on teams that are preparing to play Arkansas. They're playing tougher. there's a higher level of effort. There's a higher level of execution.
Over 200 yards rushing tonight for Arkansas, as that's incomplete. Let's go down to Lauren.
Guys, I'll tell you what, I love Sam Pittman's philosophy. His philosophy is to build a team of players who will run through a brick wall with him. Not for him, but with him. He said that he set high expectations for the team. They're going to be tough on you, but they're also going to love you every day, and that's what this coaching staff brings to the table. Communication, consistency, both keys for him, and that's something that has been felt around the program since Pittman arrived. I've really enjoyed just talking to him those last couple of weeks. We had him in the Auburn game a couple weeks ago, obviously tonight, and really just, it's been nice getting to know him as a coach and as a person. And I'll tell you what, he exudes a lot of patience. Every time I've interviewed him, he's very calm about things. He has a lot of confidence and a lot of patience.
He is. He's a breath of fresh air to talk to, so incredibly well respected by his players. And he uses his words wisely, too. He's not somebody that's just going to always think, I need to talk, like most head coaches. He's a guy that uses his actions before he uses his words. Saw Buddy Johnson come in there for the tackle for loss. Frank's running for his life again. Stays on his feet, and he's down near the 28-yard line. It'll be 4th down.
That's becoming a familiar refrain, especially here in the second half, as you see Felipe Franks. The guy looks like he's been drugged. I mean, it's just, look at all the grass stains on the back of his jersey. He has taken some shots. He keeps getting back up. You see heavy breathing, just trying to keep fighting, scratching, clawing to advance the football. Toughness, effort, the things that you expect from an offensive line, former offensive line coach who's now your head coach.
And it's blown up immediately. That's Devin Morris, the junior from Caldwell, Texas. It's a turnover on downs.
Hey, have you seen Marty?
Aggie defense finding a way to get off the field once again, thanks to Devin Morris covering up Boyd out of the backfield, and Arkansas can't score. A&M will try to run out this clock and get to 4-1. A-Chain had that touchdown run a few series ago, gets a few. Kyle Field has had over 27,000 people.
Offense. 5-yard penalty.
Here
replay first down.
In the stadium tonight. How about that? 27,114. Every other year, that'd be one of the worst attendances you'd ever see in the SEC. Instead, it's the biggest crowd we've seen in college football. 2020 is crazy.
It really is. You know, a lot's changed. The impact of the 12th man hasn't, though. I mean, it's amazing. We talked about it earlier. Those guys, they find a way as a fan base to impact games. Gators talked about it, and their big defeat there at Kyle Field. You know, the crowd noise can get you offensively, you get a little cattywampus sometimes. I mean, you can't hear what's going on.
A-Chain is tackled by Torian Carter. It'll be 3rd down. It's the 9th straight win that Texas A&M is going to have over Arkansas. It's 2011, the last time the Razorbacks knocked off the knocked off the Aggies rather, in this Southwest Classic. Arkansas still leads the all-time series, but since the Aggies have joined the SEC, it has been all Texas A&M. Second and 14 after a penalty was called. It's A-Chain who gets a few. It'll be 3rd down. What do you think is going to be the biggest issue for Texas A&M in the second half of the season, Stinch?
Well,
Third and final charge timeout, Arkansas. Reset the game clock to 3:04. 3:04 the game clock. This is a 30-second timeout.
Well, I think that, part of it will be, not just maintaining focus, that's part of it, but rounding out the wide receiver group, and the fact that I think tonight, part of the reason why we were able to see Anais Smith in the backfield, contributing as a runner, and he's done it coming into this football game. He already had 30 touches as a ball carrier tonight, just the 3. But I think that that's going to grow. There's going to be a chance for that. And why is that? Well, it's because of guys like Hezekiah Jones finally getting back onto the field of play, getting that guy further acclimated to the pace of play again. It's been a year and a half. They targeted him 8 times in this game. That's a lot for a guy that hadn't been on the field, and they did it early. I think that's something that offensively that they're going to continue to develop. The ground game, I think, is about fully realized. The way the front has played offensively throughout this season, really, and since the Vanderbilt game has been impressive.
Spiller back in there on a 3rd and 13. And another tackle by Joe Fouché that'll force a 4th down. After we wrap things up here in College Station, be sure to stick around for SEC Football Final, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Dari Noka in the game will break down all of the day's football action. It's coming up right after the game here on SEC Network and also on the ESPN app. Constantino punting for the 4th time tonight. It's off the side of his foot, but it does take somewhat of an Aggie bounce. And there's 2:05 left in the game. Okay, for my favorite graphic of the night, here we go. I think it's quite obvious that I'm a big M&M's guy. Now, let me make this clear. Not peanut M&M's in second place, peanut butter M&M's in second place. Snickers just the fun size, huh? You don't like to just go with the big family size or king size. Whatchamacallits. Wow.
Yeah. You only eat
and
them
look
at
at
Halloween.
Sisler over there, king size Reese's.
Which only means what? There's like a 3rd cup in the package or what? Because the cups don't get bigger, do they? If it's a king size peanut butter
yes,
cup?
they do. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well, then at what point does it become a pie?
For more, let's go down to the field and Lauren Sisler.
Look, my candy selection is phenomenal. I've got a lot of candy in the pantry at home. My husband says, don't bring any more home. I know it's Halloween, but I'll tell you what. I'm going to confess here, guys. I trick-or-treated until I was 21 years old. I was a senior at Rutgers University. I showed up, rang the doorbell, and they brought the king-size candy bars. They were all about it.
Well, I can see why, especially if you have the king size. Stinchcomb, in his post-football playing days, is just committed to discipline, losing like 70 some odd pounds, and that's why evidently you're on just a fun size program these days.
Well, it's actually a bag of fun-size Snickers. You don't just sit down and eat the one. But it's like eating munchkins, those little bitty donuts. You think, oh, just eat 1 or 20 or 30. It's not the same as the king size. You feel like you actually ate something. But you can crush those fun-size Snickers, and it's like nothing ever happened.
I'm gonna have to find how I can buy a whatchamacallit.
You can't.
It's over. Burks with the catch.
You can't buy them. You can only be given a whatchamacallit. No one's actually ever purchased one, I don't think. What's with the weirdo green M&Ms? Like those taste any different? That's such a strange thing.
You got to save them for last.
Sure.
Kern down inside the 15-yard line. Felipe Franks trying to finish with something positive here as Boyd goes all the way to the end zone. Touchdown.
Arkansas leaves with the loss here tonight, but they did not waste the opportunity to improve in a lot of ways. Here's the counter game. Never really got it going great in this one, but they did get number 5 going. Rakeem Boyd, far and away his best performance of the year. And they saw some of that pop, I think, that they were looking for out of him. The 9th time in his career where he's gone over 100 yards.
(42-31) after the extra point is made. And there's a picture of Boyd when he was an Aggie, redshirted back in 2016.
Looks like he's got shoulder pads on in that picture. He's a big dude. And more than anything, that was a guy that was just so quiet. I mean, it's just a quiet year for him.
Number 0,
and he was
Texas
nicked
A&M.
up. That's probably
Is
part
now
of
wearing
it.
number 19. Number 0, Texas A&M.
But tonight
number
is
19.
closer to what his career numbers typically looked like. He was averaging, before this season, over 6 yards a carry. And as you see, for his career, 9 times where he's gotten north of 100. And this was his best performance, bar none. And Arkansas moved the football on the ground. They missed some opportunities, there's no doubt. And of course, you know, the A&M offense, once they got into that groove, they just did not get derailed until here late, really.
Definitely a positive to take out of this game, as Arkansas will host Tennessee next Saturday night at 7:30. Meanwhile, the Aggies will be in Columbia in one of those unique annual cross-division games. 2 years ago, speaking of sugar, 2 years ago we called that game the Aggies and the Gamecocks, and you tried to impale yourself eating a donut burger at the South Carolina State Fair. I'll never forget that.
That was not intentional. That was completely incidental. No one tries to impale themselves. But it was worth the risk.
The amount of joy that you had on your face, I mean, you had tears in your eyes as you were consuming that. I think our producer tried to show a replay, and you looked at me and said, "You got this, pal." I'm in a really good spot at the moment.
Yeah. The hidden toothpick was unnecessary.
Excellent performance by Kellen Mond tonight. 21 of 26, 260 yards, passing, 3 touchdowns, ran it for 32 more yards, and has the most total yards in Aggie history by a quarterback as they improved to 4-1 on the season.
We talked about it coming into this game, where Kellen Mond stood from a record book standpoint, but it's his performance. The guy's he's wanting to win games. He's a quarterback of a team that, as we talked about it, they've got a chance to wiggle their way into the college football playoff. In a strange year, they have that opportunity. As you see both quarterbacks embracing there towards the end. Felipe Franks played like a warrior, but Kellen Mond put together a pristine performance here tonight versus the Razorbacks.
Let's take a look at what he did tonight. It was all game long, just a consistent effort from number 11.
Spread the football around early. That was to answer an opening score for the Razorbacks. Got to Aniyah Smith, to Jalen Weidermeyer. He threw it under duress a couple of times. Really showed some toughness, standing in the pocket, took some shots. Not only as a passer, but on the receiving end of some shots from that Arkansas front. Stood, delivered, carried the football well, made good decisions here tonight. You have to like the way things are trending for the A&M offense as they kind of build momentum in this season.
At the Gamecocks next Saturday night, and still one of the best records in college football not out of it in the college football playoff picture as they go to the back half of the season. And Kellen's getting set up as we speak. Down there on the field with Lauren Sisler.
Kellen Mond, can you hear me okay now? Oh yes, he can hear me. We'll crank that down just a little bit. Kellen, first and foremost, you guys come out with a big performance, a very balanced attack on offense. How would you evaluate your performance tonight on the offensive side of the football?
I thought we played really well, and I think we're really balanced both in the pass game and in the run game. And I think big thing we're able to convert on third downs and keep the chains moving. So that was something that we knew going into the bye weekend this week, playing Arkansas, and we were able to execute.
So your name now etched in the record books. You have now eclipsed the 10,000-yard mark on total offense for a quarterback. What does that mean to you, Kellen?
It's special. I just think about all the days, just putting in a lot of work with so many great leaders, and Christian Kirk and Travion Williams, and then now just look at my growth, and I couldn't thank my teammates and coaches enough.
Coming off the bye week, you showed some improvements out here tonight. What can you take with you in the back half of the season?
Just being more consistent, trusting my eyes and trusting my receivers to make plays. We were able to get Hezekiah Jones back tonight, and he had a big-time game. And I only look for us to continue to get better both in the pass and run game.
27,000 fans here tonight. 12th man showed up.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
That's who we come out here and play for. They've been so spectacular this year, especially with all the rules and regulations going on, and they definitely helped us, and got some big wins here.
Thanks so much, Kellen.
Thank you.
What a terrific representative of college football Kellen Mond is. For Matt Stinchcomb and Lauren Sisler, I'm Taylor Zarzer. Our final score in College Station tonight: number 8, Texas A&M 42, Arkansas 31. Up next, SEC football final presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Let's send you back to Dari and the crew in the studio.
All righty, guys. Thank you very